Earlier, Darjeeling municipality, what it did is it used to poison dogs, and it would use like a rat poison of sorts. And this rat poison, what it does is it makes the dog bleed from every hole in their body.
यस्तो बच्चाहरु त कतिवटा अब कति अब मान्छेले अब उनीहरुले पाल्दै गरेको स्ट्रीट डग्सहरुलाई अबैन्डन गरेर यिनीहरु आउँछ अनि बच्चा ब्याउँछ हाम्रो शेल्टरमा आउँछ कुन बच्चाहरुको अडप्सन हुँदैन है तर हामी हाल्नुको लागि कोसिस गर्छौं कुन शेल्टरमै बस्छ.
What happens is so many times people will just dump puppies at the gate, right? Like they'll just throw puppies.
मेनली चाहिँ रेबिज भएर निकै मान्छे मर्थ्यो कुकुरहरूले पुरा टोक्थ्यो मान्छेहरूलाई तिनीहरूको भ्याक्सिनेसन हुन्थेन है अन्त त्यसले गर्दा ह्युमन डेथ्स पुरा हुन्थ्यो.
If a kid just, by mistake, the kid touches a dog's tail and the dog gets angry, the dog might just bite the kid, and then the kid is in this trauma of hating dogs. He had a huge wound here. He's still recovering. There's still some pus coming out. Maybe leopard bite. This is Tatupaniko, right? Hot water thing, right? So somebody poured hot water on him.
Challenges like these are very normal to the Kalimpong and Darjeeling animal shelters. Every day, animals are being left to the doorsteps of the shelter while most of them are saved and looked after in the shelter while the others...
It's difficult, right? To deal with deaths or, dogs dying.
With plenty of mouths and tails to feed, the non-profit organization is trying the best to look after the towns and villages of Darjeeling and Kalimpong. On the foothills of Himalayas, the shelter was built in 1995, just on the outskirts of Kalimpong town.
न त पहिला तपाईको त्यो रेबिज कुकुरहरु कति गाउँभरि घुमेर हो मान्छेलाई टोकेर पशुहरुलाई टोकेर गर्थ्यो अहिले त्यति छैन.
सुरुमा यस्तो थियो यो प्रोग्राम सुरु हुने अगाडि चाहिँ स्ट्रीट डगको पपुलेसन निकै थियो अनि स्ट्रीट डग भन्दाखेरि अब फिमेल डगको पपुलेसन वाज हाई मेल पनि थियो है अब.
With this situation in Darjeeling and Kalimpong, the founder Christine Towen established this shelter.
So Christine was actually a tourist and she was traveling around and she saw one such dog dying in bazaar and she put down the dog. She put the dog to sleep, ended the pain, and she was really moved by the condition of dogs. Most dogs were like hairless and weak and so many puppies, cars trampling over puppies. So she kind of approached the municipality and said that I'll stop, you stop poisoning dogs and birth control is something that I will take control of.
So by 1996, she, along with Dr. Yongzong, successfully conducted an animal birth control program in Kalimpong.
त्यतिबेला सोचेको थिएन कि म चाहिँ अब एनिमल वर्क नै गर्ने हो भनेर किनभने मेरो फोकस जति पनि वुमेनमा थियो है अन्त अरु अब हुन्छ नि एन्भाइरोन्मेन्टपट्टि लार्ज ठुलठुलो अब इन्डेन्जर्ड स्पिसिसहरुपट्टि थिए तर मैले एनिमल शेल्टरमा काम गर्छु सोचेको थिएन तर त्यतिकै मेरो अब है फोकस अब इन्ट्रेस्ट यतै बढ्दै गयो अन्त त्यसले गर्दाखेरि चाहिँ अन्त मैले हाम्रो म्याडम ज्यू यहाँको जुन चाहिँ डाक्टर क्रिस्टिन टाउनन हुनुहुन्छ जो चाहिँ अस्ट्रेलियन लेडी है उहाँ नै हो यो एनिमल शेल्टर स्थापना गर्नुभएको.
With the shelter established, Dr. Christine inspired the locals and the villagers to look after the animals.
तपाईको कुकुर त कति आयो कति गयो 12 वर्षमा त अब कति अब लाख आइसक्यो यहाँले कुकुर. मैले 1998 देखि
त्यति बेला मैले उहाँलाई भेटेँ झन् बेसी इन्स्पायर भयो. उहाँ चाहिँ एउटा एक्टिभिस्ट पनि हुनुहुन्थ्यो इन्टरनेसनल एक्टिभिस्ट है उहाँसित बातहरू मारे है एकदमै राम्रो हुनुहुन्थ्यो उहाँ पनि एकदम वेलकमिङ है उसले मलाई पुरा इन्स्पायरहरू गर्नुभयो अनि त्यसले गर्दाखेरि मेरो फोकस बढ्दै गयो.
Later somehow she found some land in Kalimpong and from earlier they would catch dogs in Darjeeling, take them to Kalimpong and perform surgeries. Later in 2000 she finally bought this piece of land.
And the streets of town and villages were finally safe. easier and done. With over 70 animals in Kalimpong and over 30 in Darjeeling, they still have patients coming every day from the homes of the villages. Even domestic pigs as well.
Especially, their lifespan is not going to be as long as ours, right? That's the pig.
The responsibility of keeping the streets and the domestic animals safe and healthy is not an easy task. Moreover, it is just one of their challenges. Rabies.
And it is a disease that's going to infect infect all mammals. So again, as I mentioned earlier, if you ask me that will a blue whale get rabies, so yes, a blue whale can get rabies.
Hallucination, paralysis, insomnia, confusion, vomiting are just some of the symptoms of rabies on a human, ultimately leading to death.
Foxes, so Kalimpong had a huge problem of foxes getting rabies earlier. One interesting thing about rabies is it has a few carriers. Now what are carriers is animals that have the virus but they don't show the symptoms.
Raccoons and bats are some of the carriers of rabies.
A few other things that we need to remember about rabies is the fact that it does not move through the blood, it goes through your nerves. So that is the reason it also moves through the nerves, so it is very difficult to judge. So if, as I mentioned, if I get bitten in my toe, it might just take 2 months. If I get bitten here, it might just take 2 weeks, right? And that is the reason it is always necessary to take vaccinations against rabies, right?
स्ट्रीट डगको पपुलेसन निकै थियो अनि स्ट्रीट डग भन्दाखेरि अब फिमेल डगको पपुलेसन वाज हाई, मेल पनि थियो है अब अनि मेनली चाहिँ रेबिज भएर निकै मान्छे मर्थ्यो, कुकुरहरूले पुरा टोक्थ्यो मान्छेहरूलाई, तिनीहरूको भ्याक्सिनेसन हुन्थेन है।
र त पहिला तपाईँको त्यो रेबिज कुकुरहरू कति गाउँभरि घुमेर हो मान्छेलाई टोकेर पशुहरूलाई टोकेर गर्थ्यो।
So, a viral disease and an overpopulation of the street dogs is a cause for disaster.
So now, while we were talking about, population control, so as I mentioned earlier, right, there are 2 ways to control population. As Darjeeling municipality did earlier, just poison dogs, right? Or the example which I gave, if you take a gun, shoot all the dogs, okay?
But that would make the mission and goal of the organization of no use. Fortunately,
and the entire concept is for us to build a very happy, healthy relationship with our dogs, because the dogs are not going to go anywhere, right? They are always going to be here.
सेल्टरको इन्सेप्सन जब भयो 2002 देखि चाहिँ एक्टिभ 2000 देखि चाहिँ सेल्टरले एक्टिभली काम गर्न थालेको। सो त्यो पछि चाहिँ धेरै नै पपुलेसनमा रिडक्सन आएको छ स्ट्रीट डग पपुलेसनमा। अनि बेस्ट पार्ट इज हामीले जुन चाहिँ एन्टी रेबिज भ्याक्सिनेसन प्रोग्राम जुन चाहिँ गर्छ त्यो चाहिँ प्रोग्राम हामीले एकदमै गाउँ बस्तीतिर पनि गएर गर्छौँ हामीले सँगसँगै एनिमल बर्थ कन्ट्रोलसितै। सो त्यो भएकोले गर्दा चाहिँ रेबिज डेथ इन ह्युमन्स त्यो चाहिँ अहिले हामीले एकदमै सुन्नै पाउँदैनौँ अब अहिले, द्याट इज रियली रिड्युस्ड।
Dogs are maximum in number in Darjeeling or in most Indian cities or the world, right? And that is the reason what we do is we vaccinate as many dogs as we can against rabies. So if you look at the terrain of Darjeeling, there are tiny pockets of forests, right? So below the shelter there's a huge forest, so we regularly get leopard attacks, fox attacks, right? And these foxes or leopards usually will come and bite tiny dogs to take them away. Now if one of those is maybe infected or something like that, so that is the reason what we want to do is we want to create a buffer zone or a herd immunity in dogs against rabies, right? So what you do is you vaccinate as many dogs as you can every year. So if at all there is a attack of a rabid animal, it does not spread quickly because most animals already have immunity against the particular virus.
today the virus is almost as non-existent, all thanks to the shelters.
त्यो चाहिँ यस्तो हुन्छ हाम्रो जस्तो वार्ड वाइज म्युनिसिपालिटी भन्यो भने एरिया वाइज या वार्ड वाइज हाम्रो जुन चाहिँ क्याम्प्स हुन्छ इयरली भ्याक्सिनेसन क्याम्प्स हुन्छ है त्यस्तै पाराले हाम्रो विलेजेसमा पनि अब हामी जहाँ जहाँ जान्छौँ त्यहाँ चाहिँ एन्टिरेबिजको भ्याक्सिनेसनको चाहिँ ड्युरेसन 1 वर्षको हुन्छ प्रिभेन्टिभ एभ्री इयर चाहिँ रिपिट गर्नुपर्छ है त्यो भ्याक्सिन त्यसले गर्दा हामीले त्यो नोट गरेर राखेको हुन्छौँ हाम्रो मेन्टेन हुन्छ रेजिस्टरमा अनि हामी प्रत्येक वर्षै त्यो दिन आउने 2-3 दिन अगाडि नै हामीले त्यहाँ गएर पोस्टरिङ गर्छौँ पोस्टरिङ गरेर मान्छेलाई खबर दिन्छौँ अनि मान्छेले त्यहाँ त्यति बेला ल्याउँदाखेरि चाहिँ हामीले एन्टिरेबिज भ्याक्सिनेसन गर्छौँ र सँगसँगै त्यहाँनिर इनकेस विलेज लेभलमा चाहिँ अब यो म्युनिसिपल एरियामा त हामीले डग क्याचिङ गरेर डग्स ल्याइहाल्छौँ स्ट्रिट डग्स है भेट्यो भने तर अदरवाइज चाहिँ विलेजेसमा चाहिँ एबिसीको पनि खाँचो पर्यो भने चाहिँ हामीले एबिसी र एआरबी कम्बाइन गरेर त्यहाँनिर क्याम्प गर्छौँ हजुर अनि त्यसै गरेर चाहिँ इयर आफ्टर इयर हामीले त्यो प्रोग्राम चाहिँ कन्टिन्यू गरिरहेको छौँ
With the problem of the deadly virus solved, they still have other challenges at hand, which are fortunately safe than the earlier situation, but not an easier task. Meet Kangaroo. Since he had lost both of his limbs, the shelter has been taking care of him.
So we got a call about a cat in a very bad condition, and when we actually went there, we saw the cat had only one limb. One limb was very dry, could not really move, and there was a huge wound on the back. What we suspected it was maybe somebody poured hot oil or hot water on the cat, and but then what happened is once we got him inside in the shelter, the next morning the other limb had also fallen off, and he jumped on my lap and he wanted food. So I essentially fell in love with him. This is kangaroo. He does not have limbs. Yeah, he jumps like a kangaroo. I wanted to call him T-Rex, but Dajus were like, no, kangaroo is better. So
Like kangaroo, there are lots of such cases the shelter has to face every day.
So, can you see the wound here? That is the wound. He was castrated yesterday, and he's from Bhutabasti. We'll be taking him back tomorrow. We'll be operating on her maybe tomorrow. This one tomorrow, this one we've already operated on her yesterday. She'll be going home today. This is Asha. Asha had her, she had a bike accident. Her leg was broken, so we had to remove the leg. That is Bo. Bo came in with rickets. His hands were like this. Now he's a gunda. Bo! Like he's the gunda of animal shelter. This is Asha. The naughty one. Her, I like to call her Rosie because she came from an area called Rosebank. So she had a wound here, right? And her intestines were out. So what we had to do is, I think you can see the wound here. So we had to open her up, stitch the intestines, and heal her again. Now she's fine. She can go home in a few days. We've got this one. She's from Ghoom. She came in with a broken tail. Puppy. So, because this is Dasai season, if you can see her tail, we had to amputate the tail. Because it is Dasai season, what is happening is we are getting a lot of road accidents. So one of the major reasons why right now we don't have puppies, but one of the major reasons why we need to work a lot is because most animals that come here have experienced the bad, ugly side of humans, and because they have experienced a bad side of humans, it is difficult for them to trust us again. So we spend a lot of time, playing with them. We'll just go play with them, slowly gain their trust, and then we actually try to get them like humans again, and that is when they get adopted. We don't get older animals adopted. All the young animals, they get adopted from the shelter. This guy, he's from our village itself. He had a huge wound here. He's still recovering. There's still some pus coming out. Maybe leopard bite is what we're suspecting. Leopard bite somewhere, or some wild animal. This is now this dog does not like me, so it's quite aggressive. This is Tatopani ko, right? Hot water thing, right? So somebody poured hot water on him. Not very friendly, so I won't touch him, right? But yeah. This guy is also not very friendly. He's just vomited, and can you, maybe we'll have to come here. We don't want him to escape.
He's very scared.
Yeah. So he'll be going home tomorrow. So as I mentioned, the dogs, most dogs come here for ABC, right? They come here, we perform the surgery, they recover for 2 days or 1 day, and then we release them back to their places so that they can maintain their territory. This one is very sweet. This is Kali. So Kali came in with almost no hair on her body. Now she's much better. She'll take some time. I think you can see all of this, right? So she'll take some time. What we've done is we've also performed the surgery. So when she goes back home, she's spayed. So every dog that comes inside the shelter will definitely get spayed or castrated, right? And definitely get anti-rabies vaccines. She's got a tumor on her leg. We are treating her for that. She's not very sweet. Sometimes she tries to bite me. I don't know if you can see it here. So we're trying to treat her for that, but she does not like humans. So with most animals, we need to kind of see if they are okay with interaction. If they're not okay with interaction, we just don't let them out. So like this dog, because again, as I mentioned, this is Dasai season, right? Dasai, Tihar, people are bursting crackers, dogs get scared, and because they get scared, they will kind of, run on the roads, and people hit them, people don't take care while driving. Yeah. So she came in with a huge spinal injury. Now she's much better. She can't walk very well. So what we do is, I think you can see how she's walking. It's not the best. So yeah, she's recovering, but she'll still take some time. And the other dog is again the same, spinal injury, hit by a car. Now she's walking a little better. Puppy, ja. Puppy. Oh. Spinal injuries take Spinal injuries take a lot of time to recover. So yeah, but then both these, they are recovering well. So maybe 2 more weeks and then they can go back home. This is Kali. I got this one. Okay, I found her there. Just that village there, right? It's a him, and I found him in that house. So I just got him with me. This is Mundi. Mundi was one of the angry kittens. All her siblings got adopted and nobody adopted her. So bichara, she had to stay with us. That's Jasmine, right? The white one. Okay, Kali. Sa. Does not like me, will not let me touch. We have one more cat. He's Bruce. He is like our favorite cat. He's very old. He has no teeth. And I think Raju, Bruce. कहाँ? ए देखा. This is Bruce. He's like that grand old dad. 12 वर्ष. दाँतहरू पनि छैन. If he wants food, he'll come to you. If he wants to, get pet, like he wants you to pet him, he'll come to you. Otherwise, he just hates you. Like he'll claw you. He likes this when he likes it when you do that.
यो चाहिँ हाम्रो अहिले सेल्टरमा आएको यसरी बच्चाहरू पुरा एनिमल सेल्टरमा आइबस्छ है अन्त हामीले यस्तो बच्चाहरूलाई चाहिँ अडप्सनको लागि हालिदिन्छौँ तर अडप्सन गराउनु चाहिँ बहुत मुस्किल छ सेल्टरमा किनभने अब हाम्रो यहाँनिर अहिले कालिम्पोङमा जहाँ पनि अहिले है इन्डियामा हेऱ्यो भने पनि के छ भन्दाखेरि मान्छेहरूले पुरा कुकुर किन्नु मन पराउनुहुन्छ है अन्तखेरि जुन पनि अब स्ट्रिटको जुन चाहिँलाई हामी भन्छ पराया डग भनेर है यो पराया डगहरूलाई चाहिँ मान्छेहरूले बेसी याद गर्नु हुँदैन है त्यसले गर्दाखेरि यस्तो बच्चाहरू त कतिवटा कति मान्छेहरूले उनीहरूले पाल्दै गरेको स्ट्रिट डग्सहरूलाई एबान्डन गरेर यिनीहरू आउँछ अन्तखेरि बच्चा ब्याउँछ हाम्रो सेल्टरमा आउँछ कुन बच्चाहरूको अडप्सन हुँदैन है तर हामी हाल्नुको लागि कोसिस गर्छौँ कुन सेल्टरमै बस्छ.
And more, the shelters are fighting the uncontrollable populations of the street dogs every day.
So now, while we were talking about, population control. So as I mentioned earlier, right, there are two ways to control population. As Darjeeling municipality did earlier, just poison dogs, right? Or the example which I gave, if you take a gun, shoot all the dogs, okay? So though we've killed all the dogs in Darjeeling, the garbage is still there. And as long as there's garbage, there'll be one dog, say in Ghum, who's going to be like, ooh, a lot of food in Darjeeling town. And no competition, no other dogs to fight with. So this particular female, what she'll do is as quickly as she can, she'll just shift to Darjeeling town and quickly she'll give birth, right? And what is essentially, and she is not in her own space right now. So because she's a local from Ghum and right now she's migrated to Darjeeling, she'll be always a little skeptical and a little scared of the people in Darjeeling and she's always going to be a little ferocious and might just quickly attack and the puppies will learn the same. In the science, what it is assumed is each dog is going to give birth to at least 6 puppies in 1 litter and a dog litters gives birth at least twice a year. So that makes it around 12 puppies. If we consider 50-50 male female, 6 are going to be females. These 6 females again imagine giving birth to 12 more puppies in the next year. So me killing all dogs in Darjeeling did not really make a difference because within 2 years we have the same population of dogs and this new population, 1 is ferocious, 2 is going to continue breeding, continue moving to different areas. So what essentially we would want to do is we would want to create, so dogs are pack animals, they usually have a certain territory. So what we at the shelter do is we pick up dogs say from Chaurasta, which is the central square of Darjeeling. You pick up the dogs from there, you transport them to the shelter, you perform the surgery, you remove their uterus and their ovaries, right? Once you've neutered your dogs, there is no will for them to mate. And because there is no will for them to mate, they are not fighting anymore. While we perform the surgery, we also vaccinate our dogs. So there is also less scare of rabies, right? And we release them back to where we picked them from. So we'll be releasing that particular dog again in Chaurasta. And once we do that, now that dog is going to grow old in Chaurasta, and while she grows old or he grows old in Chaurasta, he's not going to let any other dog come to Chaurasta. So that slowly, it's a very slow process, but it does, bring the dog population down in a very slow manner. So it's not as evident as say me killing dogs in one day, right? But it is a much more humane method of, controlling dog population. So that's the idea behind it.
With over 1,000 plus of spaying and neutering every year and an average of 80 dogs per month, the future of the streets of Darjeeling and Kalimpong seems promising.
एउटा पशु हो पशुले त अब जिस्कान त केही नि गर्दैन नि त्यसलाई लात्ताले हिर्कायो ढुङ्गाले त्यसले टोक्छ नि त अन्त टोक्दैन भन्नुहोस् त त्यस्तो गर्छ नि त हाम्रो मान्छेहरू बुझ्दैन के पशुहरूलाई उयो गर्नु माया गर्नु हो माया गर्नुपर्छ यिनीहरूलाई माया गरेर यिनीहरूलाई केही पनि त गर्दैन
माया गरौँ एउटै लेभलमा माया गरौँ इक्वालिटी भन्ने पशुलाई पनि चाहिन्छ मान्छेलाई पनि चाहिन्छ है अनि कुनै पनि पशु भन्ने बित्तिकै कुकुर मात्रै होइन बिरालो मात्रै होइन तर जुन पनि फार्मड एनिमल छ गाई छ है सुँगुर छ जुन पनि बाख्राहरू छ तिनीहरूलाई पनि अलिकति याद गरौँ है किनभने अब कतिवटा अब भाइ जस्तो भाइ आउनु भएको छ नेपालहरूबाट कति एनिमल सेक्रिफाइसहरू हुँदैछ त्यहाँतिर है त्यस्तोहरूपट्टि चाहिँ हामीले पनि अलिकति फोकस गरौँ है अनि फोकस गरेर त्यो चाहिँ एकदमै राम्रो काम होइन भनेर मान्छेलाई पनि हामीले एउटा यो नलेज चाहिँ दिनुपर्छ होला किनभने अहिलेको समयमा है कतिवटा कुराहरू किनभने पशु माया गर्ने मान्छे चाहिँ सबैलाई माया गर्नु पऱ्यो नि त एउटा कुकुर बिराललाई मात्रै माया गर्नु परेन होइन नि त होइन र अन्त हामीले एउटा यो लार्ज एस्पेक्ट लिएर है सबैलाई फोकस गरेर यसरी हेऱ्यो भने एनिमल सेक्रिफाइसदेखिको लिएर कतिवटामा जुन जुन इलिगल कामहरू हुँदैछ पशुमाथि त्योहरू पनि हेऱ्यो भने राम्रो हुन्थ्यो and I can always be kind.
See, as like somebody who has to work at the shelter, you get to see like the worst of the lot. As again, like this guy, hot oil on the body, right? But look at him, how loving he is. Like he's not ready to leave me. So like they will love you if you love them back, or rather if you know. So when you said that animals don't talk, but that's not really true. Like I actually see them talk a lot. It's just that you need to understand their language.
बो आइज बो 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 आइज 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 म आइज हजुर अब यिनीहरू अब सानोदेखि नै अब बच्चादेखि नै मैले यिनीहरूलाई खाना दिई है स्याहार सुसार गरी नुहाइदिई गरी हुर्काएको कुकुरहरू यिनीहरू सानैदेखि यत्रो बच्चा ल्याएर यिनीहरू ल्याउँदाखेरि नै अब सानैदेखि नै यिनीहरूलाई मैले नै स्याहारेको त्यही कारणले मैले जे भने मान्छ पनि यिनीहरूले करायो भने टक्कै बानिहाल्छ यस्तो कुरो नगर जहाँ माथि पक्कै जान्छ यति बुझकीहरू हुन्छ आइज आशा ऊ सबैभन्दा बुढो फेरि यो क्रिकेट हजुर सबैभन्दा जेठो यो मली हो मली आइज क्रिकेट यो डिक्मी हो आइज मली आइज आइज डिक्मी आइज आइज डिक्मी आइज 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 क्रिकेट आइज स्याहारेर यिनीहरूलाई स्याहारेको मैले यत्रो बच्चाहरू ल्याएको सबैभन्दा बुढो त्यही हो सबैभन्दा जेठो कुकुर नै त्यही नै हो यो पनि 12 वर्ष भयो नि तपाईँको हजुर यो 12 वर्ष भयो यो झन्डै 10-11 वर्ष जस्तो भयो यो र यो एउटै हो 10-11 वर्ष भयो यो अलिक सानो हो यो 9 वर्ष जस्तो भयो त्यसको बिचमा मल्ली छ 3 खुट्टे दुईटा छ नि